This is a video about describing people, and this is actually from Roald Dahl's Matilda. And he's describing Miss Trunchbull, and he's also describing, well, in this piece, he's describing Miss Trunchbull. Now, this is a really brilliant description of a person. It's really extreme and exaggerated. But what we like best of all about it is that we can steal the ingredients of this description for our own description. Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you about it. So Miss Trunchball, comma, the headmistress, was something else altogether, full stop. She was a gigantic holy terror, a fierce tyrannical monster who frightened the life out of pupils and teachers alike. There was an aura of menace about her even at a distance, and when she came up close you could almost feel the dangerous heat radiating from her, as from a red-hot rod of metal. So there's sense description there. He's saying that, she's radiating red hot heat because she's so violent or menacing, yeah. When she marched, Miss Trunchbull never walked, and there's a lovely dash there. Use of dashes. Should always try and use 8 types of punctuation, and this is a use of dash here. And if you don't know about dashes, there are some videos in my stream about dashes, or I can teach you them. When she marched, Miss Trunchbull never walked dash. She always marched like a stormtrooper with long strides and arms a swinging. So that's a beautiful image, and all of the best descriptions have always got to have wonderful imagery in them. So it's likening her to a stormtrooper. A stormtrooper is what the Nazis had, I think, and what armies have. They go and storm people. And so they're sort of, I think they're the most violent branch of the army. So Miss Trunchbull never walked, she always marched like a stormtrooper. So he's likening her to a stormtrooper, great imagery, with long strides and arms a swinging, dash. And again, another dash, we like dashes. When she marched along a corridor, you could actually hear her snorting as she went, comma. And if a group of children happened to be in her path, she ploughed right on through them like a tank. Ploughed, lovely verb, ploughed. Yep. Yeah, and like a tank. So another military image there, like a tank, with small people bouncing off her to left and right. So again, not using going from left to right or moving from left to right, bouncing and ploughing. Lovely creative use of verbs. Then we have a direct address. Thank goodness we don't meet many people like her in this world. And although they do exist, and all of us are likely to come across at least one of them in a lifetime, so basically he's directly addressing the audience, hooking us in now and getting us engaged. Always try and use a direct address if you can. If you ever do, again addressing us directly, you should behave as if you had met an enraged rhinoceros out in the bush. Climb up the nearest tree and stay up there until it's gone away. So this is a really brilliant description. Why do we really love this description? He's calling her an enraged rhinoceros there. And he's saying climb up the nearest tree until it has gone away. So he's using humour as well. So it's got humour, it's got imagery, it's got different types of punctuation, it's got sense description, aura, which means an energy field around her, an aura. The aura, you're supposed to have an auric field. I do yoga all the time, and you have this auric field around you. When you do yoga, you have this aura that you're building up, this energy field. Everyone's got an aura, actually. Everyone's got a different aura. She's got an aura of menace. Your mum has probably got an aura of love. Well, certainly when she's around her own children, she will have. Okay, so auras do exist, and everyone's got one, and we need to work on our aura. This lady's got an aura of menace. In fact, I don't think you can call her a lady. It's more like a tank, isn't she? Anyway, of course, it's exaggerated, and it's funny. And that's what you need to do. You need to exaggerate and use imagery, sense description, different types of punctuation, and a direct address in order to engage your audience. Otherwise, it's boring for us. I'm going to carry on reading the next bit. Most head teachers are chosen because they possess a number of fine qualities. They understand children and they have the children's best interests at heart. They are sympathetic. Lovely short sentence. So do short and long sentences. They are sympathetic. They are fair and they are deeply interested in education. Miss Trunchbull possessed none of these qualities, and how she ever got her present job was a mystery. So a brilliant paragraph that actually, outlines what head teachers are supposed to be like, and then says this one is nothing like it. It's funny. I like the short sentence. They are sympathetic. Obviously, Roald Dahl isn't doing an exam with me, and I used to be an examiner. And obviously, if I got this in front of me, I'd be jumping up and down in joy, wouldn't I? Because obviously this is absolutely brilliant. But what we can do, obviously, it's Roald Dahl. What we can do is we can steal his ideas, and that's what we're doing. Okay? So the next bit is that she was above all a most formidable female. She had once been a famous athlete, and even now the muscles were still clearly in evidence. So it's a sight. It's doing visuals now. We can see what she looks like. We've seen her aura. We felt her energy. Now we're seeing what she looks like. Snorted. That's what she sounded like, didn't it? Talked about her snorting. Yeah. You could see them in the bull neck, in the big shoulders, in the thick arms, in the sinewy wrists, and in the powerful legs. Looking at her, you've got the feeling this was someone who'd bend iron bars and tear telephone directories in half. So really exaggerated, really strong, powerful woman. Her face, I'm afraid, I like that bit, her face, I'm afraid, was neither a thing of beauty nor a joy forever. So he's having a right laugh here, isn't he? She had an obstinate chin, so he's zooming in now on her face. Zoom in is what we have to do. So if you're describing your friend, Kyle, what does his face look like? If you're describing your mum, what does her feet look like? What does her hair look like? At this point, Roald Dahl is zooming in on her face. Great description. And it is a rule of 3. You always have to say 3 things about when you're zooming in, or more, but certainly 3 at least. She had an obstinate chin, that's 1, a cruel mouth, and small arrogant eyes. Excellent. And now he zooms in our clothes. As for her clothes, they were, to say the least, extremely odd. She always had on a brown cotton smock which pinched in around the waist with a wide leather belt. The belt was fastened in front with an enormous silver buckle. So again, he's having great fun describing her clothing. Excellent. Mm-hmm. So if you were to describe your friend Kyle, or I don't know what Kyle might look like if you had a friend Kyle, he might wear baggy silver sweatshirts and box fresh ginger trainers. He might have a stripe down the side of his head that had been painted purple, and the rest of his hair, his black hair, was shaved, cropped tight to his head. He may have 6 earrings and freckles. Okay, so this description of this Kyle, this imaginary Kyle, is a bit of fun. We're having a bit of a laugh. We don't have to actually say the truth. We want a bit of a laugh with it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you can have anything you like, but have a bit of fun with it. So she had an obstinate chin, a cruel mouth, and the small, arrogant eyes. And as for her clothes, I talked about clothes. So just describe the clothes. They were, to say the least, extremely odd. He always had on a brown cotton smock, which was pinched in around the waist with a wide leather belt. The belt was fastened with an enormous silver buckle. The massive thighs, which emerged out of the smock, were encased in a pair of extraordinary breeches, bottle green in colour and made of coarse twill. So it's a brilliant description, isn't it? She looks very strange. And actually, obviously, this film's been made and they dress her exactly like this because it's easy to dress Miss Trunchbull because you can see what she wears, can't you? Whereas, so in your description, think about, what has this person got on? Can someone then, paint a picture in their head? These breeches reached up to just below the knees, and from there on down she sported green stockings with turn-up tops, which displayed her calf muscles to perfection. On her feet she wore flat-heeled brown brogues with leather flaps. Brown brogues are brown leather shoes that usually, that's quite masculine looking. She looked, in short, more like an eccentric and bloodthirsty follower of the staghounds than the headmistress of a nice school for children. So an eccentric, bloodthirsty follower of the hounds. Eccentric means a bit mad and odd, and bloodthirsty means she likes murder and, killing. And staghounds is what English people, rich English people, get hold of horses and they chase across the countryside, chasing stags, or they often chase foxes. And And it's not a very pleasant thing to do, to chase foxes or stags, deer across the countryside. And so I think he's saying that she's not very nice.
Yeah.
This is a powerful, effective description of a strange head teacher. Notice how Dahl goes into lots of detail and it's fun. I'm just going to go through the vocab. Obstinate means stubborn, sinewy means stringy and muscly, eccentric means mad or odd, and staghounds, they're dogs that hunt deer while men and women ride behind on horseback. It's a sport, but not very kind. So there's a few things I just want to say about it, and then we'll move on. The longest sentence in there is over 40 words, and there's some very short sentences. Okay. So if we look, when she marched, okay, yeah. When she marched, Miss Trunchbull never walked. She always marched like a stormtrooper with long stripes and arms swinging. Anyway, so when she marched along a corridor, you could actually hear her snorting as she went. And if a group of children happened to be in her path, she ploughed right on through them like a tank, with small people bouncing off her to left and right. That's a 40-word sentence. To get an A, you need to put 40-word sentences in. Or certainly long sentences, okay? So that is a 40-word sentence. There's also obviously short sentences in there. There's examples of sense description. There's lots of examples of sense description, as I underlined. And there's also lots of metaphors or similes and direct address. So one of the things I'd like you to do is to write a description of your mum, a teacher, or anybody you wish to bring to life for us, the reader. Write about half a page and use Dahl's brilliant techniques and ideas to inspire you.